you'd asked me that question 20 years ago, I probably would have told you that I work in coffee shops all the time. That's what I did for the first 30 years or so of my professional life. Unfortunately, then came cell phones. And while I can take a lot of people talking around me, there becomes a kind of ambient sound that I actually find quite relaxing. It's writing is very lonely work, and if you can do it in a room full of people, you don't feel quite so lonely. But boy, if you get one person in a group of 40 people around you when you're trying to work, one person talking into a cell phone, ooh, that just destroys everything. So unfortunately, I've had to give up working where I like to work best, and I work almost entirely at home now. And it's taken me a while to get used to this silence, to get used to the fact that there's nobody talking around me. But it's finally beginning to work. I've always written with, the paper differs. Sometimes I've gone from legal pads to, to notebooks and all sorts of different things. And I change my favorite pens around, and I have pens that I write with, pens that I edit with, and all those idiosyncratic things that most writers seem to need, certain materials that I've liked over the years. But mostly at home now, and mostly the first draft is always handwritten. But by afternoon, whatever I wrote in the morning, by afternoon it's on the computer, and by later in the afternoon I'm usually doing my first quick edit through, and that's remained fairly constant. This is a process of imagination, and we use the phrase a leap of imagination, but inherent in that is that you can't leap from the air into the air. You have to leap from something solid. And usually that means in terms of characters, it usually means that if it's not one person that you're thinking of when you begin to develop this character, it's two or three people who share a particular trait. But that's the grounding of the thing. And for me, that really is just a launch point, because I'm basically incapable of telling literal truth for very long. And whoever I'm thinking about, after 2 or 3 sentences in to the story that I'm telling about that person, I can always improve upon whatever it is I've heard this person say or overheard this person say, or and usually by the time I'm a page or two into things, that the character has become someone that the person I might have started modeling him or her on wouldn't recognize herself anymore. I expected it to be difficult, far more difficult than it was. I thought that I'd never written a sequel before, never had any desire to write a sequel. And then when I started writing it, I got welcomed back right away. Sully was right there waiting for me. And a very minor character, Officer Raymer from the first book, who was just a pawn that I'd been moving around the chessboard, was there in a major way for me as the protagonist of the new book. And so all was going well, and I thought, well, all right, this is going to work. Much to my surprise, this is going to work. And then I actually interrupted the book to write my memoir. And I thought, well, now surely that my characters are not going to like that. They're not going to like the fact that I interrupted them to deal with somebody else, a real person even. and so I thought when I finished the memoir, I thought, well, this is going to be really difficult to get back into to North Bath and to Sully and Officer Raymer, Chief of Police Raymer. And yet there they were again, they're just hanging around waiting It's like I was the director of a movie, and they were all awaiting instructions for the next scene, and been chatting amongst themselves. but they didn't. If they held a grudge for me for going away, against me for going away, they didn't show any sign of it.